Are you trapped in a relationship that drains your energy and leaves you questioning your self-worth? Imagine navigating through that emotional storm with the timeless wisdom of Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus. Picture this: instead of feeling controlled by toxic love, you're standing firm, centered, and calm, making decisions rooted in inner strength and clarity. In the next few minutes, we'll dive into 11 powerful Stoic principles that can help you break free from toxic patterns and reclaim your peace. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll learn how to face relationship challenges like a true Stoic warrior, transforming pain into power and chaos into calm. Stoicism, the ancient philosophy founded in Athens by Zeno of Citium, teaches us how to lead a virtuous life guided by reason, self-discipline, and inner tranquility. While often applied to personal development and resilience in the face of adversity, Stoicism's principles are equally valuable when navigating the complexities of relationships, especially when facing toxic love. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, the great minds of this school, offer wisdom that can help us manage emotional turbulence and cultivate healthier connections. Toxic love is often marked by codependency, manipulation, and emotional imbalance. It's a far cry from the mutually respectful and supportive relationships that Stoic philosophers advocated for. By drawing on Stoic principles, we can free ourselves from unhealthy relationships, build emotional resilience, and foster meaningful connections based on respect, virtue, and personal growth. Here are 11 key Stoic relationship advice inspired by Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus that will help you overcome toxic love. 1. Understand what's in your control. Epictetus, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, famously taught, "Some things are up to us, and some things are not." In the context of relationships, this principle reminds us that we cannot control how others act or feel, but we do have control over our own thoughts, behaviors, and responses. Toxic relationships often stem from the desire to control our partner or their emotions. We may try to change them, fix their flaws, or force them to love us in a certain way. However, Epictetus advises that we should focus only on what is within our power, our own behavior and reactions. By accepting that we can't control the actions of others, we relieve ourselves of unrealistic expectations and reduce unnecessary suffering. When you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, you can step back from toxic dynamics, focus on your own growth, and cultivate inner peace. Remember, you can only control how you choose to respond to a situation, not the situation itself. 2. Practice self-discipline and boundaries. Seneca, a prominent Stoic philosopher, emphasizes the importance of self-discipline and moderation. In relationships, this translates to setting and maintaining healthy boundaries. Toxic relationships often thrive when boundaries are blurred or ignored, leading to emotional manipulation and abuse. Seneca's teachings encourage us to practice self-restraint and not give in to emotional impulses or the demands of others when it compromises our well-being. By establishing clear boundaries, you create a safe emotional space for yourself. It's not about shutting people out, but rather protecting your inner peace and values. A relationship without boundaries leads to resentment and loss of self. When we practice discipline in how we allow others to treat us, we take a step towards self-respect and healthier relationships. 3. Detach from the desire for validation. One of the key sources of toxic love is the craving for external validation. We often seek love and approval from our partners to feel worthy or complete. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, reminds us to turn inward for validation. He wrote, "It is in your power to withdraw yourself whenever you desire." Perfect tranquility within consists in the good ordering of the mind. When you rely on someone else to validate your worth, you become vulnerable to their whims and moods. This often leads to toxic patterns of behavior, such as seeking attention or bending over backward to please them. Marcus advises that true contentment and confidence come from within, from the good ordering of the mind. Cultivate self-worth based on your own virtues and actions. Stop seeking approval from others, and focus on living a life aligned with your values. When you no longer depend on others to feel good about yourself, you free yourself from toxic relationships. 4. Remember the impermanence of all things. One of the central teachings of Stoicism is the concept of impermanence. Everything, including relationships, is temporary. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. Everything is ephemeral, fleeting." Toxic relationships often endure because we cling to them out of fear of loss, even when they cause us pain. Stoics teach us to accept the transient nature of all things. This doesn't mean giving up on love or relationships, but rather approaching them with the understanding that they may not last forever. By accepting impermanence, you can let go of toxic attachments. This Stoic mindset enables you to appreciate the present moment in relationships without clinging to an idealized future or dwelling on past mistakes. It's liberating to realize that you don't have to stay in an unhealthy relationship simply because of fear of what will happen if it ends. 5. Control your reactions, not your partner. In relationships, especially toxic ones, we may feel compelled to react with anger, frustration, or hurt when our partner behaves poorly. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This profound insight is a cornerstone of Stoic thought. Instead of lashing out or trying to change your partner, control your own reactions. Toxic relationships often escalate when we allow ourselves to be triggered by the other person's behavior. Stoicism teaches us to pause, reflect, and respond calmly, with reason, not emotion. By controlling your reactions, you remove yourself from the cycle of toxicity. You regain power over your emotions and set an example of measured, thoughtful behavior. This can help de-escalate conflict and give you the clarity to decide whether the relationship is worth continuing. 6. Practice amor fati, love of fate. Amor fati is a Stoic concept that translates to love of fate. It is the practice of embracing whatever happens in life, good or bad, as necessary and part of a larger plan. In relationships, this mindset can help you accept the difficulties and challenges that arise, seeing them as opportunities for growth rather than reasons for despair. Seneca reminds us that adversity, including the pain of toxic relationships, is part of the human experience. Rather than resist or resent these challenges, Stoicism encourages us to embrace them, understanding that they are shaping us into stronger, more resilient individuals. By practicing amor fati, you shift from seeing yourself as a victim of circumstance to an active participant in your life's journey. Accept that the struggles you face, even in love, are opportunities to learn and grow. This mindset helps you approach toxic situations with equanimity and wisdom. 7. Seek virtue in relationships. For Stoics, the ultimate goal of life is to live virtuously. Relationships, they argue, should serve as a platform for practicing virtues like kindness, patience, humility, and justice. Toxic relationships, however, often lead us away from these virtues, encouraging selfishness, jealousy, or cruelty. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." In relationships, this means striving to embody the virtues you wish to see in others, regardless of how they treat you. Rather than responding to toxicity with more toxicity, focus on cultivating virtue within yourself. This doesn't mean tolerating abuse or mistreatment, it means leaving behind relationships that make it impossible to live according to your values. Seek out relationships where you can grow in virtue, and don't compromise your principles for temporary pleasure or approval. 8. Recognize the power of forgiveness. Epictetus teaches us the importance of compassion and understanding toward others, recognizing that people act based on their own limited perspectives and ignorance. People are not disturbed by things, but by the views they take of them, he says. In toxic relationships, resentment often builds up, leading to bitterness and emotional wounds. Stoicism advocates for forgiveness, not as a way to excuse harmful behavior, but as a way to free yourself from the negative emotions that weigh you down. When you hold on to grudges, you allow the toxicity to fester within you. Forgiving doesn't mean forgetting or staying in a harmful situation, it means letting go of the anger and hurt, so you can move forward with a clear mind and a light heart. Free yourself from the emotional baggage of past conflicts by choosing to forgive, even if that means moving on from the relationship entirely. 9. Embrace solitude and self-sufficiency. Seneca believed that solitude is essential for cultivating inner strength. In his letters, he often spoke of the importance of self-sufficiency, or being at peace with oneself regardless of external circumstances. True happiness is to enjoy present good without anxious dependence upon the future, he wrote. In toxic relationships, people often fear being alone and may endure mistreatment rather than face the prospect of solitude. However, Stoicism teaches that true happiness comes from within, not from another person. Embrace the idea that you are enough, that your value is not tied to whether or not someone loves you. Learn to enjoy your own company, to reflect on your thoughts, and to find peace in solitude. This self-sufficiency will make you less reliant on toxic relationships and give you the courage to leave situations that do not serve your well-being. 10. Focus on personal growth, not fixing others. One of the traps of toxic love is the belief that you can fix your partner or change them into the person you want them to be. Epictetus warns against this. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Stoicism teaches that the only person you can truly change is yourself. Instead of focusing on fixing or changing your partner, shift your attention to your own growth. Use the challenges in the relationship as a mirror to reflect on your own behaviors, attitudes, and emotional responses. What can you learn from this experience? When you focus on your own growth, you become less dependent on others for happiness. You can choose to end toxic relationships not out of frustration or anger but from a place of self-respect and a desire for personal development. 11. Accept loss with grace. Lastly, Stoicism teaches us how to handle loss with grace. In a toxic relationship, fear of loss often keeps us trapped in unhealthy dynamics. But as Marcus Aurelius wrote, loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight. Every ending is an opportunity for a new beginning. When a toxic relationship ends, rather than mourn what was lost, Stoicism encourages us to see it as a natural part of life's flow. Accept the change with dignity, understanding that it opens the door to personal freedom, growth, and the possibility of healthier relationships in the future. The Stoic approach is to detach from the emotional turmoil of loss, knowing that everything in life, including relationships, is impermanent. By accepting loss, we find peace and the strength to move forward. By applying these 11 Stoic principles to relationships, we can transform toxic love into opportunities for personal growth, self-reflection, and virtuous living. Whether it's practicing self-discipline, setting boundaries, or embracing solitude, the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus offers us timeless tools to overcome toxic dynamics and cultivate healthier, more fulfilling relationships. Stoicism teaches us that true happiness comes from within and that the quality of our relationships is a reflection of our inner state. By focusing on self-improvement, emotional resilience, and the pursuit of virtue, we can break free from toxic love and build connections rooted in respect, kindness, and shared growth. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below.